Good Monday morning, all my fine people. Hopefully, you guys had a productive, great weekend. And I'm just going to get the ball rolling and start it off by simply saying today's conversation, the topic will be about our diets. And I don't necessarily mean I'm talking about a food intake diet. I mean just a diet of what we put into our minds as opposed to just what we put into our bodies. A lot of times, people go with the understanding that we are what we eat. So basically, what we consume is going to dictate on what we get out. Okay. So the most common things, obviously, knowing that there's 3 square meals a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, I'm going to break these things down into 8-hour intervals. Understanding that in those 8 hours, there are 24 hours in a day, so there's 3 meals in a day. So we're going to break it down from a 3-meal, 8-hour perspective. Breakfast. Breakfast is when you get up in the morning, obviously, and you go and do your 8-hour shift of work, whatever that may be for you. You do your 8 hours. Now, that's being referred to as breakfast because, like I said, it's at the beginning of your day. Breakfast is often known as the most important meal of the day. It's when you should, from what I understand, consume the most that you can possibly consume, because at that point it's there, energy-wise, sustain you the rest of the day. Okay? So with that being said, you're dealing with your 8 hours a day. Okay? Breakfast is essential. Breakfast is essential because without breakfast, trust me, you will not be able to get lunch and dinner. So understanding the importance of your diet and where to start it off and how to start it off will be an indignant to your success later on into the next part of the phase of the day. Now, you eat a proper breakfast, which means basically if you out there working, according to the way that you need to work, you'll be able to reap the benefits of those efforts or reap the benefits of that great meal and breakfast on a pretty continuous basis. After those 8 hours of your workday or 8 hours of your day in total, breakfast is now consumed and you move on to the next phase of what's next, which is lunch. Now, lunch would be referred to, in my analogy, as the leisure part of your day, the 8 hours after your work shift that are there. Now, some of us have a little bit more demanding schedule than others. Some people can actually be leisurely during those hours. Needless to say, this is vital as well because it is the next phase of diet that takes place right after work, which allows you to understand that breakfast wasn't a situation in vain, because at the end of it, the reward of being able to have that leisure time is there and present. So lunch is just important as breakfast because, like I said, it needs to be able to paint the clear picture that what took place before that had a great purpose. So during those 8 hours after you have lunch, time goes by, preparation for the next phase of the next 8 hours comes into play. That becomes dinner. Well, dinner would be the 8 hours that you should be at rest. Now, I don't know how many of you guys are actually getting 8 hours of sleep, which if you are, that is fantastic. It's probably way more than I need. I'm really not a person who does too much sleeping, period. But in terms of that concept of dinner would be that recharge meal. Dinner would be that meal at the end of the day. It doesn't have to be huge. It needs to be enough to be able to sustain you until you get back to breakfast. That's basically what it is. It's the concept of understanding that with the proper diet, you'll be able to move throughout your 24-hour period on a pretty continuous basis. So make sure as we go about our week this week, y'all, that we start to key into our diets. Are we taking full advantage of breakfast? Are we applying ourselves in every way possible in that regard? Are we taking that mandatory time that we need for lunch breaks to be able to understand that those lunch breaks are just as important as that ability to be able to consume breakfast? And last but not least, the body doesn't work well without being able to have sustainable energy, not only from the morning, but through the night until the next morning. So make sure you're eating that dinner. Now, like I said, this diet applies to the 24 hours in a day, the 3 8-hour breakdowns. So this has everything to do with the psyche, as opposed to the actual, food that a person may consume. Although, obviously, that's a major importance as well. As always, from my mouth to y'all ears, as I say all the time, y'all continue to be good to yourselves, man, and be good to each other, man. Y'all be cool and have a safe, productive week. And I'll talk to y'all again on Monday. Y'all be cool. Peace.